Let me show you an easy, simple, and delicious way to make homemade fideo. This is perfect on its own, as the main star, or as a side. This is going to be good. Here we go. So here in a pot, this is a small pot, I'm adding cooking oil and 8 ounces of vermicelli pasta or noodles. And now I'm going to just toast this over a low heat setting. Sometimes when I'm in a rush and the heat is too high, they kind of start to burn before they toast. So, another thing to take your time doing so you just don't burn most of them. Here I'm going to add some sliced onion and continue the saute. Toasting the vermicelli helps to ensure that you keep the texture of the pasta when you add the water and it cooks. Okay, so I'm going to work on the liquid. I have 3 Roma tomatoes that I chopped up, 3 cloves of garlic, 1.5 tablespoons of chicken bouillon, a half teaspoon of ground cumin with some pepper, and water. I'm going to add these ingredients into my blender cup. Here I have the ground cumin and pepper, garlic, the chicken bouillon powder, and now I'm going to add maybe like 1.5 cups of water. This is just to help everything puree well. I'm going to cover this with a lid, and you're just going to puree and blend well. And this is what I'm adding right into the pot. And I'm going to add the rest of my water. In total, 3.5 to 4 cups of water works for this recipe. I'm going to scale back on the water because my family wants it less soupy, but I actually like it when it's really soupy, so it's up to you. Here I'm going to add some fresh cilantro right on top of everything and kind of give that a mix. You see that it's already boiling and simmering, so that's perfect. Give that a stir, and you'll also want to taste for salt and seasoning, adjust to your preference. I'm going to cover this with a lid. I'm going to lower the heat and let it gently simmer for maybe like 10 to 12 minutes or until it's cooked through. And eventually you end up with delicious cooked fideo. My kitchen smells amazing right now. Give that a stir, shut off the heat, and it's ready. Today I'm going to show you how to make cheese-filled chile rellenos. So first I'm going to prep my poblano peppers and I'm going to fire roast them or char them. You could do this under a broiler in the oven or in a very hot pan. I like to use fire, so this is what I'm going with. And you're just going to char the exterior until it looks like this. And then you're going to place all of them into a glass bowl. By the way, this does take time and patience. And the last one goes in. And you'll also want to make sure you have proper ventilation while doing this, so turn on the overhead vent fan. And now I'm going to cover the bowl with cling film and allow this to set and sweat. It's going to take like 15 or 20 minutes. So it's been about 20 minutes, so I'm going to start removing all of the charred skin. Charring the skin makes it easy to just remove it from the pepper. It's a very waxy, thick skin, so you don't skip this step. And see how it just slides right off? And you can do this just by peeling it off. Again, it's tedious, it takes time, but it's well worth it. I love these. Or you can use a knife like this and just gently scrape the flesh or the charred skin off of the poblano pepper. So these all have the skin removed. So now I am going to open them up just like this with kitchen shears and just gently cut out and scrape out any seeds. Now if you want this spicy, leave the seeds if you like that, but it'll just be so spicy if you leave the seeds in there, so remove them. And that's that. And now all of them are prepped and cleaned, so I'm going to dredge them in flour, but what I'm going to do is add like a teaspoon or so, maybe a half to a teaspoon to a full teaspoon of onion powder to this half cup of all-purpose flour. And just give that a mix. And this is what I'm going to dredge the peppers with because this dredge helps the eggs stick to the exterior. I'm working with 8 ounces of low moisture mozzarella. I've just cut them into like block chunks. And I divided 8 ounces as evenly as possible to fill the 6 poblano peppers. Okay, and if you want to use toothpicks to enclose it, you can, but because the cheese is in like a big chunk, it's not going to fall out. But you know, use toothpicks. If you're using like meat, ground beef, or shredded cheese, do so. So I'm going to separate the egg whites from the yolk of 6 large eggs. Per poblano pepper, you want to use 1 egg, and I'm just doing this with my hands. It's slimy, it's messy, but this is just what I find convenient, clean hands. So the yolk goes into a bowl over here on the side, and just repeat the process for all 6. I've got my egg whites and my 6 yolks. So now it's time to whip and beat the egg whites until stiff peaks. And once they're whipped to stiff peaks, you'll want to add the egg yolks one by one to incorporate. Some people like to add just a pinch of the dredge, the flour dredge. You can do that, but this is fine. This always works for me, but it really is up to you and what you're used to making or what you want to do. So at this point, I've got my station together. I have the egg white, egg mixture, the stuffed peppers, and I'm going to dredge this in that seasoned flour. And it's just a light coating. And once you dredge it, kind of tap it, shake off excess. And now, clean hands, going right into the bowl, no toothpick. What I do is I coat this with the fluffy egg mixture. And I do have a preheated pan with cooking oil, and it kind of goes like the seam side down or to the side. And once the egg starts to cook, it encloses a lot better. Now, if you're using like ground beef with rice, potato, or shredded cheese, that might not work. Okay, the second one going in. Careful, I do this a lot, so I'm used to using my hands. And cover up any spots with extra egg mixture. And then once it's cooked on one side, use the stem, give it a flip, and there you go. And it does take practice, so if you're making this for the first time, just trust yourself and do the best you can. It's going to taste good. And you want to make sure that oil is preheated well before adding it. Okay, so these are done. It doesn't take very long, several minutes maybe, and you just place it on a plate with paper towels. Some people put them on a wire rack. It's up to you, but these are crispy and golden and perfect. So while these finish cooking, I'm going to serve a bowl. So you'll notice that a lot of the soupy part of the Fideo just kind of got absorbed by the pasta. That's okay. My family likes it less soupy. I like more of the Sopa, but they're eating this today. So it's what they want, and this is it. This is dinner. Cheese, chile rellenos with sopita de fideo on the drier side, but it's really good. So I took the rest of these out. They are done, and dinner is ready. So I hope you give this recipe a try. I hope you like it, and thanks for watching.